The NFC East and the number 1 seed belong to the Birds, and it started off in record-breaking fashion. A.J. Brown breaking Mike Quick's single-season record for receiving yards. Boston Scott, the Giant Killer, he got a touchdown. And how about Jake Elliott? 5 field goals, the most in a single game in his career. Welcome to the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. I'm Gabriella DiGiovanni, joined by Fran Duffy and Ike Reese. Now, before you get going, okay, in these times, shipping's a little hard to come by. So I got you guys a Christmas present. It just came a little late.
Wow.
I know. I was feeling extra generous this time of
matches
year.
my suit today, too.
I also bought one for myself, so feel free to open them up because I'm going to need it. We all got a pair of earplugs.
Earplugs.
So please put them in.
We don't need no stinking earplugs.
Come on, Ike.
Go ahead, Ike. Let it loose.
Going in? Well, I don't want the earplugs. I got to let the people hear what they need to hear. Victory! Woo! Number 1 seed. Let's go.
You're going to keep these in
Yeah,
the same place.
we'll use these for the next few weeks. Hopefully we
yeah,
have 4 more of
hopefully.
these.
Yes.
All right, what do we think, fellas?
Go ahead, Fran. I'm trying to catch my breath.
Yeah, you got this. Look, this is a take care of business game for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? You go in against a team that you know is not playing all of their players. Davis Webb gets the start, their 3rd-string quarterback. A number of their top players inactive for this game. Go in, stay healthy, get the win. And that's exactly what the Eagles did today. Was not pretty. Wasn't pretty, but the Eagles took care of business. It's a T-shirt and hat game, as our friend John Clark likes to say there, Ike. The Eagles now celebrating in the locker room. They win the division. You get that Z next to your name in the standings, so you secure the conference. They've got the number 1 seed, home field advantage. They're not leaving the link for another 4 weeks until they take that trip down to Arizona. That's the plan.
Yeah, and that's what it was all about. Again, you're talking about the quarterback who hadn't played in a few weeks. It was great to see Jalen back out there with his guys. I'm sure they planned to come in and play a little better on offense, put a few more touchdowns on the board, but I thought they had control of the game pretty much all day. Just needed to finish off a few drives. Some of that rust should be expected, but to the point Fran made, you've accomplished one of the goals on your list. Number 1 seed, home field advantage. You won your division. All the work that you put in the first 14 weeks of the season when you were 13-1 and clearly the best team in the NFL, I think they get a chance to go out and prove that now without having this cloud over their head of what it could have been over the last 3 weeks. So I think when you walk away from this game, you didn't lose any players. That was also key. So you're still getting players back, and it was great to see number 1 out there under center.
And I would say, too, that 2 weeks from now, when the Eagles host whoever it is that they're going to host in the playoffs, it could be this team, the Giants, it could be the Cowboys, it could be any of the other handful of teams in the NFC playoffs, you're not going to remember how they played today.
Right.
The body of work is what is going to carry over into that divisional round playoff game against whoever the Eagles host that weekend.
We're going to head over to Lincoln Financial Field where Eagles insider Dave Spadaro joins us live. Dave, the NFC East, the Eagles won it. The number 1 seed, the Eagles got it. What are your initial thoughts from today's game?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles accomplished all of the goals they set out to accomplish when the season began, and that in itself is an accomplishment. So you look at this kind of as the entire body of work, the entire season, 14-3, franchise record number of victories. Today, a conservative offensive game plan, no design Jalen Hurts runs other than the successful quarterback sneak. You know, he was very limited in his zone reads and his, the RPOs. None of that stuff really mattered. It was a very vanilla, in my opinion, offensive approach. I thought defensively a bit disappointing to give up 16 points to a team that had a quarterback who had never thrown a pass in the NFL before. And I want to just say this. The Giants, and you guys talk about it all you want, the Giants came with the blitz, with the blitz, with the blitz, with the blitz. And I remember going to Cleveland and into Miami and watching this offense particularly when the Browns blitzed the Eagles in those joint practices. The Eagles didn't really have an answer. And when you take away Jalen's legs, because he wasn't looking to run at all, there were running lanes today he didn't take. Eagles got to be better against the blitz, because if I'm the next opponent and I'm looking at what the Giants did today, I'm blitzing this offense. And obviously it'll be a different story if that's an if, Lane Johnson is the quarterback. But, from just like a macro sense, you kind of want to make sure, if you're going to correct things, I think offensively that's what you want to correct. But for sure, everything that Ike and Fran and Ella, all you guys have been saying, no injuries today, knock the rust off not only Jalen Hurts, but I thought Robert Quinn had some good pass rushes. I thought C.J. Gardner-Johnson showed some versatility and had made some plays and got physical and that was really important going into the playoffs.
135 yards on the ground today from the rushing attack. What can you say about the effort that they put forth to kind of, plow through that Giants defense, take some time off the clock, and of course Boston Scott capitalized in the end zone as well?
Yeah, Boston Scott really runs hard. I loved his run. I thought Kenny Gainwell finished off his runs very well. Miles at times. Now, Miles, of course, has been nursing that knee injury. These 2 weeks will be extremely beneficial. And what Fran said is absolutely true. And my old buddy Ron Jaworski told me this. They never ask you how in the NFL. They only ask you how many, as in victories. And what you saw today, it will not resemble anything you'll see in 2 weeks. And the parallels between the way this Eagles team is going into the playoffs as the number 1 seed and what we know we're going to hear and read, sports talk radio, Ike, the newspapers, the internet, the Eagles don't look like the number 1 seed. That's exactly what we heard in 2017. And the game changes because all that matters in the playoffs is that the best team that day wins the game. And the Eagles got to find a way to win that day in 2 weeks.
You talked about a little bit of the conservative play, a little bit vanilla. In the kickoff show, we talked about getting takeaways. That's something the Eagles excelled in the beginning of the season. It's kind of plateaued a little bit the past few weeks. What's going to be the key heading into the playoffs to capitalize in the takeaway area?
Yeah. Look, Darius Slay had 3 chances for an interception. Marcus Epps had one go right into the breadbasket and fall to the ground. I mean, the Eagles have to be better on the back end, making sure that when they have opportunities to get the football, that they get the football. Today, we didn't see the pass rush. I mean, the Giants did such a good job. I mean, that is an example of a team that really is very well coached. Davis Webb had never thrown a football in his life, right? In a regular season pass in his life. And he really had good command of when to throw the football away, when to eat, when to get out of bounds, whatever. A couple designed runs that were really successful. So the Eagles obviously want to turn up the pass rush pressure, stop the run, and when you have chances on the back end, which the Eagles had today, you can't let those opportunities slip by. And a team that has been so good offensively, Ella, in the red zone, the Eagles number 1 in red zone touchdown efficiency coming into this game, and they were just flat out poor in the red zone today. If that one touchdown doesn't get called back, this whole game is different. We're not sweating bullets. We're feeling a lot better. But I'm telling you, for the next couple weeks here, a lot of angst among Eagles fans. And the Eagles are going to have to do some good coaching here and get things and prepare and really take advantage of this bye week.
All right, Dave, I'll let you head into the locker room, get all that instant reaction for the Eagles Insider podcast. That was your Eagles Insider, Dave Spadaro, live from Lincoln Financial Field. Going off of some things that Dave talked about, it was conservative play. Now, part of that could be Jalen Hurts was returning from injury, and you need to sustain him through the playoffs. Now, the bye is going to serve him really well moving forward, but they didn't give too much to the opponent, whoever that may be, too much to look at to prepare for the Eagles moving forward. Of course, there's 16 weeks that they can watch, but nothing too new or too fresh from Jalen Hurts on film.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching my old coach yesterday. They're playing in a game against the Las Vegas Raiders, and Andy's out there running plays I've never seen before. I mean, as the huddle, they're doing merry-go-round stuff out there, showing stuff, to your point, Ellis, showing stuff on film that the Eagles didn't necessarily feel a reason to do that today. Playing against an inferior opponent, the Giants, give them credit for playing as hard as they did, but we knew they didn't have their best players out there on the field. I thought today's agenda was to knock obviously to win the game, first and foremost, but also knock some of the rust off of Jalen so he'll have an opportunity to get some action in before they play in a playoff game. I love the fact they threw the ball 35 times today, so that lets you know there was no concern about arm soreness, anything of that nature. So it wasn't some sort of restriction on him being able to throw the football. The lack of running at his position, I think, was primarily due to wanting to keep him healthy, keep him safe. He didn't take any unnecessary hits out there, but they let him throw the ball today. And remember, that injury is on his throwing shoulder. Mm-hmm. So if there was some concerns about that being 100% healthy or anything of that nature, I don't think they would have had him throw the ball as much as they did. And he threw the ball down the field a number of times. Those are things that I felt encouraged about seeing. This game was about if Jalen was going to play today, It was about seeing how he looked in game action. We haven't seen him for 3 weeks. Most people want to feel good about the quarterback going into the playoffs. I'll come away from this game, forget about what his final numbers look like, other than the fact they threw the ball 35 times a day, and he didn't look as if he's lost the ability to understand defenses and make good decisions out there.
Yeah, I think all of that is spot on. At the end of the day, you wanted to be able to see how Jalen is going to react, and I'm sure they will be asking him tonight, tomorrow, Tuesday. How does the shoulder feel? How does everything feel coming off of getting hit for the first time, throwing 35 passes in live action? I think for the entire offense moving forward into the playoffs, the big thing will just be getting back to what got you here, right? And so Dave brought up a stat that I had circled going into this show, and that was the one of 5 in the red zone. That is uncharacteristic of this Eagles offense. They have been the best red zone offense in terms of touchdown efficiency in the NFL this year. That is a big reason why they have had the success that they've had. Turnover margin, you see right there. 1 turnover for the Eagles, 0 for the Giants. They've got to do a better job at creating those big plays. When you get into the playoffs, you get into the postseason, it is all about chaos. It is about those individual plays that allow you to both win or lose a game. The game can be tilted on any one of those situations, and that's why we always harp on third down, red zone, those situations that can so often impact the outcome of a game. If you're able to succeed on third down, succeed in the red zone, take advantage of those opportunities, and then capitalize when the other team gives you a chance to make a play, that typically leads to success, right? And so for the Eagles, that will be the big thing that they're going to try and correct and kind of fine-tune going into 2 weeks from now.
I think a big thing they're going to be up against, too, Dave mentioned it, is the outside noise. Now you have 2 long weeks to answer a lot of questions, and there's going to be a lot swirling around this team. Like you said, it's kind of the approach of you want to see glimpses of this team, what they've done previously this season. We didn't get that, but they didn't need to be that team today. All they had to do was win, and that's what we got. We got a winning football team here today. But I think this team knows who they are. They know what got them here. I'm not worried about the confidence of this football team. It's about managing kind of that outside noise like we talk about all the time with you, Ike.
Yeah, and I think the players understand how good of a football team they are. And the fact that they got the leader back under center, that's going to bring confidence. Today, again, this game was more about knocking rust off and getting the number 1 seed locked in by any means necessary. The Eagles didn't decide they were going to empty the playbook to try to win this game today. They were trying to balance keeping all of their guys healthy, not exposing them, while also giving them enough to go out there and win with. We talk about the red zone, Fran. I wonder how much of that is an indication of Jalen not being a part of the running game, right? So normally when we get down in that red zone, it's a dual threat. He can either throw the ball or run the ball himself down there as an extra runner. Today, it seemed like that wasn't even on the table. So you're trying to get into the end zone by either just handing the ball off without Jalen being a part of the running game or trying to throw it in the end zone again without Jalen being a threat to run. It makes this offense a little bit more easier to defend. The one thing I would say, and I'm assuming 2 weeks from now, he's definitely going to be much healthier. I would imagine that would be a part of the offense when they play their first playoff game. I would imagine Jalen being a part of the run game will again be a part of the offense.
And that's the thing is I don't even know I look at it as like, oh, well, Jalen's not healthy enough to run away or be a part of the run game. I look at it as more, hey, don't expose yourself to the defense in a tough situation when you're on the run and trying to make a play and then take a hit going out of bounds, or you take a hit where you're going to the ground and you have a second defender jumping in, or you lower the shoulder to finish a run. And I would say the same thing about the going up against the blitz as well. Dave talked about that earlier in the show, is that the Eagles struggling to go up against the Giants blitzing attack. Ella, we talked about this in the kickoff show, right? No matter who is out there, the 3 of us could have been the 3 starting corners for the Giants tonight. They were going to blitz. That's the way. That is their DNA. They are going to blitz. And so the Eagles just did not combat the blitz well enough here in this game. But that's something, look, they can go into the postseason saying, well, that's something that we can correct. It's not like they haven't seen the blitz all season. They've been one of the top 5 most blitzed offenses in football so far through 2022. But I think when you look at this team, their ability to create, again, it's going to be about the body of work. It's not about what you looked like in week 17 and what you looked like in week 18. You go back to 2017, those last 2 games against the Raiders on Christmas Eve night and the Cowboys in that final game, the offense did not look great, right? And that's at the end of the day, you go into the postseason and say, all right, well, the offense needs to get some things straightened out. that worked out okay. And that's not to say that will definitely happen with this group, but I think at the end of the day, you want to be playing your best football in the playoffs. It's not about what you look like going into the playoffs, if that makes sense.
And this game couldn't have been easy from a mental standpoint to get prepared for it. They obviously knew what the objective was, right? Trying to get the number 1 seed, get the win by any means necessary. But as a competitor, when you realize the opponent isn't necessarily going to put their best foot forward, it's almost human nature to almost feel as if, okay, we got this. We got this. So you may not feel that necessary need to put your best foot forward. So not that it's an excuse, I just think that it's a plausible explanation as to why this team may not have been at their best today. It's almost when you knew coming into the game that this game is going to be a W for you. And the Giants not having Daniel Jones out there or Saquon Barkley out there, it's almost as if you felt like it's only a matter of time we're going to win this game.
Looking for the zeros to show up on the clock.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to get this thing over with. And I will say this. We didn't lose anybody today, right? Everybody was healthy. That was great to see. And it was even great to see Gardner Johnson back out there flying around, making some tackles, because he's going to be huge moving forward. You got to get Lane Johnson back at that right tackle position in a couple weeks, hopefully. And also we'll see where Avonte Maddox is at that time. But the more these guys get back, this is what they've been waiting for. And there's a little bit of pressure there. There's a little bit of pressure hanging over your head when you've been able to be the number 1 team all year long and you're just trying to get to the end line. And then you lose your quarterback, right? And you got to go to Dallas and play. And then you got to play New Orleans. And then it becomes, okay, are they not going to be the number 1 seed? And should Jalen come back? So all these things kind of hang over the team when really this team has felt like it's been the best team in the league all year. And they needed that validation by getting this win today. And I'll say this, not that I'm glad they lost the other games, but you imagine had they won in Dallas, then you're doing the last 2 weeks and how we call these games the last 2 weeks, right. Wondering whether or not you play players, how long do you rest them? At least this way, the majority of the guys have played over the last 3 weeks versus not playing the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they're now the number 1 seed. So when you get into the playoffs, it's week 1.
Exactly.
No one cares that you have 14 wins on the season. Anything can happen in the playoffs. And so that mindset immediately shifts to kind of starting over. This is week 1. It's basically a brand new season fighting to get to Arizona.
Yeah, and they've known they had this lead for the majority of the season. So when you don't necessarily have someone close to you chasing you, it's hard for you to stay on top of your game. And it wasn't until Jalen went down and we lost to Dallas did any pressure start getting ramped up around here. And that was the 3rd straight road game. You come home and you play New Orleans and the offense doesn't look as good. And so now there is the exterior noise out there. Everybody's wondering whether or not are you going to blow this thing. And the Eagles, I love listening to Fletcher earlier this week talk about how as players, we put ourselves in this position, we have to get ourselves out of this position. And that's what you're going to need from your vets. Like the vets kind of know how to handle this coming down the stretch here.
And I was going to ask you about this because there is a distinct change in the game when you go from regular season to playoffs, right? I mean, the speed of the game, the tempo, the urgency, everything just means a little bit more. Everything just moves a little bit faster. And that's the thing. What has been one of the mantras of this team for the last 2 years is, hey, it's 1 week mentality, 1 week at a time. It's a 1 week season every single week, right? You hear that time and time and time again. That is the case when you get to the postseason,
literally.
Right? And that urgency literally shows up on a weekly basis. And so I think when you look at this football team, yes, they are prepared to go into that, but you're going to lean heavily on the Fletcher Coxes, the Brandon Grahams, the Lane Johnsons and Jason Kelce's, the guys that have been there before, that have played at this level in these situations to get you through every single week and every single new challenge that comes to a head.
And I love the fact that we're in a position that we can't be overconfident right now, right? They just clinched the number 1 seed. You know, they had a tough game against the Giants and their backups. So, we've seen the last few years with a number 1 seed.
I have to cut you off. We have Brandon Graham at the podium.
Hold that. Nick gave me that.
BG won a division under 4 different coaches here. How do you compare this team to some of the other great ones you've seen? And it's actually 2017, which is obviously a little bit different than the other ones.
You know what? What I love about this team, we won this game. Everybody happy, but we know we could be so much better. And we know as we climb the mountaintop, things get harder. And so we got 2 weeks to make sure we clean up what we did today. But overall, we're going to enjoy this one. We had goals to, win the division. And, now that we've seen number one spot was on the list, that was another goal of ours. We accomplished that, but we could be so much better, just from this game alone. We getting some guys back, so that's gonna be key. Big Lane come back. CD and them boys, they did good today. They got a little, they got they foot in a little bit. Jalen was in there, and so man, I'm just excited for where we can go. If we just keep on taking it one day at a time, one play at a time.
Brandon, you mentioned cleaning up what you did today.
Mm-hmm.
Given the circumstances, given that they didn't play their starters, does it matter? Like, I guess what I'm asking, you've been in situations, when you guys won the Super Bowl, you didn't close the regular season.
Right, the way I know what you're saying. But, we played today. And so we always being critical of ourselves on where we can be better as a team, and it's just those little things that you don't want to get beat on. When we actually, now that everything is for real, and we won and done. So we're just trying to make sure that we take care of business these next 2 weeks, find out who we play, and then get started on it.
T-shirt and hat game. You got the hat on. Those ever get tired for you when you're playing?
Oh no, man. I'll never get tired of that. But I know that's just the first step of what we're trying to accomplish, and we're trying to hold that trophy at the end of the day. Hopefully, I'm at the podium smiling after the Super Bowl. But it's going to take one game at a time, one play at a time, and one day at a time. And I think that this team is excited for the challenge, and we can't. This week we're gonna work, and then we're gonna get the weekend off. Then we're gonna get ready for what's to come.
Is that Nick's kind of message to you guys that this is just the first step, more to come?
Oh yeah, and as you climb that mountaintop, being at the top, it gets lonely, but you can't get bored with it. You gotta make sure that you stay on point on what you do, and that's the grind of every day. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror and say, did I give everything for my teammates today? Did I give it for the team today? Because we count on everybody, even myself. Just look at myself in the mirror and say, what can I do better to help this team as a leader, of one of the leaders of this team? And the biggest thing is just be me. Like I've been doing. Don't do nothing different. Just make your plays when they come. And so, man, I'm excited because we're in a great position right now, but we gotta take full advantage now that everybody got to come through us.
You mentioned your leadership. Is there anything different you might say to a younger player? There's a lot of young players in this defensive line group. As someone who's been at the top, where this is their first time, guys who've never won the division before, guys who've never won a playoff game before.
Mm-hmm. You gotta, as we watching the game and when they out there, we rooting them on. I'm watching them, seeing what they doing, making sure they're not pressing for plays, because sometimes as a young guy, you want to show that you belong out there, and I get that. But you gotta make sure that you do your job, because that's all we doing. It's just getting off the rock, using our hands, getting off blocks, and making sure we make plays when the ball come our way. And so I watch the young guys all the time, and we always going over adjustments and what I feel like they did good on, and what I feel how they trying to hit us. And so just trying to teach them as much as I can on the fly. As much as they learn this year, it's always stuff that we all can learn from each other. And so I'm always, just watching them and seeing what I could do, what work, what they doing out there, just so I can kind of implement it on my game to help the team. So I think it's just talking to them as we go along as the game going. But yeah, they've been doing good because we got some young guys that really want to be great. So they really listen to us. So I try to make sure that I give them some good stuff.
Brandon, you're one of a few guys that played for Andy, Doug, and now Nick. What do you think of all three of them being in the playoffs? And do you see any similarities between them?
You know what? The organization always been ran a certain way. It doesn't matter what coach was in there. But I think it started with Andy, and Andy ran it a certain way. And everybody had their own little thing. And I look at Nick as the younger version of it. And, he added a little more good stuff to it. It's, with Andy, it was more old school, hard nose, long practices, all that stuff. Nick is about you just trying to make sure we got quality, more quality stuff, and just don't waste time as much. And he about those little things, and I think it's them details is a lot more with Nick than I ever had with a coach. We talk about it, but they do it every day, and they always get on us about it. So I can't do nothing but respect it. And but they are great coaches, all fun to play for, and they really do get their teams going.
You mentioned the organization. I mean, there's organizations that just roll through coaches, kind of one-and-done guys. And I mean, 3 of the last 4 now are still doing it. What does that say about kind of what Jeffrey and Howie have been able to do?
Man, they run a great organization. They great together. When you have great work relationships, and then if you have stuff off the field, that's even better. And I see that every day with them. I mean, it just seems like it's fun for them. And I just try to make sure I do my best to help them, because they do everything that they can, to make sure that we have what we need to succeed. And so my give back is making sure I make plays out there for them, and be in this position where we #1 seed. That's the first step of it. And then, make sure we handle business so we can get to Arizona and then go try to win that. But, it's going to start with just the second round of the playoffs. Got to make sure that we come ready to play, and I think we'll do that.
Even though this game, you jumped out to the lead, but it got to the point where it became a grind. Can this help you? Can this help you guys understand what you all need to do, especially a younger player, during the course of the playoffs?
Oh yeah, I mean, this was the last 2 weeks is as close as playoff atmosphere as you can be. Like when you in them tight games, man, it comes down to the little things. And I think it's good that we went through some hardships in the last 2 games. The last 2 before we just won this one. This one was even tough. It's not easy in this league, and people get it twisted every week thinking that, oh man, this team beat this team, so we should beat them since we beat them. It's like, nah, everybody get paid, and we all got to adjust as we go. And even when I was on the losing team, we still had some pride about us. So you don't ever get it wrong. And I always tell the young guys, just block out all that noise of what the media talking about. Just make sure you're ready, because people going to hit you in the mouth if you ain't ready. And so I just try to make sure we ready. Don't get caught up with all the hype, what people saying, and just make sure we do our job. And I just want to go out, win, lose, or draw with us being us, and giving our best shot. So it just comes with the day-to-day on what we have to do, and we have to block out the noise. So I'm excited, man, because we got a really good team.
A couple more. You have a 2-week.
The journey. Good.
You have a 2-week layoff, but it's kind of interesting because you have 4 teams that eventually you'll have 4 teams I think that you could possibly play. I mean, maybe going back to 2017, how do you spend that first week like prepping individually for an opponent that you don't necessarily know? You know
what? We just get sharper on what it is that we didn't do so well on this week, and then when we know what we know, I think that that's when the game plan comes in. Coaches and them might adjust, like go for start looking at teams that we gonna play. Eventually, depends on who win or lose, but I think for the most part we just go. What we did 2017 was we went over stuff that we was getting hit on during the year. We started to see that teams came right out and tried to hit us where we was losing. We was losing that during the year, and that was a credit to Swartz during that year. And I think that we're gonna do the same thing. Gannon is really good, and Gannon knows where our issues are, and I think he'll have us ready when that time come on whoever we play. But I think this week we just work on some of that stuff.
Consider the journey ahead, not just this ship, but the year before. You coached, the players, turnovers, what have you. How special was this championship and this season so far been for this team and for you guys personally?
It's been great, man, just to see that bounce back. Last year it wasn't a good taste at all, even though we made it to the first round of playoffs. But it just made us more hungry, I feel. Like we had a lot of guys that went through that last year, and now they know what that felt like last year, and look where we at. Guys just wanted to get it right. And like Coach said, hey, y'all, now that we done accomplished the goal of getting to the postseason, now we the #1 seed, just know we at the top, and people going to try to knock us down, but we got to stay ready. And I think that's what we're going to do, because it starts with Coach, then it starts with the leaders of the team to make sure he pass the message down. And, how I show it is how I do in practice, each and every practice, and make sure I don't let nobody get away with some of the little stuff that, you tend to let go because of being a good team. It's like, nah, we ain't there yet. When we holding that, when we saying we get in the ring, that's when I'm done. My job is done. So I'm going to just make sure we be as hard as we can be, but enjoy this, enjoy the journey.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Perfect reminder, Eagles fans hearing from BG, to vote for Brandon Graham for Walter Payton Man of the Year. Be sure to head to Twitter, use the hashtag WPMOY Challenge, followed by his last name, Graham, or using his handle at BrandonGraham55. We talked so much about the veteran presence on this team, how you're going to really need to lean into them to carry this team mentally through the playoffs, and he said it straight. He said, we're not done. We're not anything. Until we have a ring on our finger, we're lifting the Lombardi Trophy. Our job is not done. And that's the perfect mindset to have. 14 and whatever they ended up being, it doesn't matter until they get done what they set out to do.
Yeah, without a doubt. And he's the right guy to speak to it. So is Fletcher, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson. These guys have been here. Even Jake Elliott, who made one of the biggest kicks in his career in that Super Bowl to give us an 8-point lead. He's absolutely right, and that's not to poo-poo what they did during the regular season. It just doesn't matter anymore. Right. If you just go back to last year, both number one seeds had a bye week and they lost at home. Green Bay lost to San Francisco at home, and Tennessee lost to Cincinnati at home. So what you get happening is these teams that are fighting to get in the playoffs late in the season, they're already in playoff mode. And some of these teams, they get out to a huge lead and they clinch early, they've almost dialed it back, and then you almost have to dial it back up. That's why I say I kind of like where the Eagles are at right now, because they didn't dial it back the last 3 weeks. They've been trying to win this final game to clinch the number one seed for 3 weeks, which means they've had to play for the last 3 weeks. They certainly would have liked to have the extra rest, but I'm not so sure if say they had to beat Dallas and now the final 2 games doesn't mean anything and you don't play guys. Now you're looking at almost 3 to 4 weeks without intense football, and then once you get into that second round, you have to ratchet up real quick. So I kind of like where the Eagles are, because you listen to them, they're happy they won today, but I guarantee you they aren't satisfied with the way the game was won today. And you want to have that sort of mindset, because now complacency doesn't set in. And so over the next week or so, forget about what's going to be said outside these walls. I think there's a standard that these guys expect to play to, and they realize they have a great opportunity right now that over these next 2 weeks, they're going to be able to ratchet up out there in practice, the intensity of getting their bodies together so that they're ready to go. To me, they're in a great position going into the playoffs, as opposed to being one of these teams that clinched 3 weeks ago and you've been sitting back just waiting for the postseason to get here, and then you even have to wait on a bye week after you watch another team play. I'd rather have this happen. That way I know in 2 weeks this team will come out ready to go.
And honestly, one of the things I love about the only one team having the bye week, and we can talk about the home field advantage, having that 1 week of rest, that is certainly big. And from a physical standpoint, it's big. But think about the rest that the coaches are going to be able to get over the course of the next few days. Not in terms of like going home, but in terms of now it's introspective. You're not preparing for an opponent. You're not game planning this week. And so all those benefits from a self-scouting standpoint that the Eagles get when they are preparing for a bye week in the regular season, now you've got that ability. And, when to Ike's point, you look at who's going to be the 4, 5, 6, 7 seed here in the NFC. I have no idea how next weekend's going to play out. You look at who's going to get that 7 seed. It's going to be either Seattle or Green Bay. You look at the New York Giants. Giants absolutely can go on the road and beat the Minnesota Vikings next week. Dallas and Tampa Bay. We'll see how that one goes next week. So I think when you look at
to cut you off, we have Nick Sirianni at the podium.
Of course, you just said that.
I got you.
All right, dude. All right, fire away.
Nick, was the game plan limited at all with Jalen being cautious with his injury coming back?
Yeah, I won't get into too much of that, but sure, you didn't want to take any unnecessary risks. We had to win the game, however we needed to win the game, and you saw he made some plays with his feet. But just like they were doing a lot of different things on defense, just throwing some stuff out there, and we obviously did some different things, because we'll always take into account our health of our players.
Big picture, from last year to now being NFC's champions, number one seed in the NFC. So what do you think about going from there to here, the accomplishment?
Yeah, this team's done some special things. Some of the records that this team has had, as far as AJ and Devontae, to have 2 receivers do that, the most points, the most wins, most importantly, right, the most sacks, right? Just a lot of great things that happened in the regular season. And so, we understand that. That's what we talked about a lot this week. We talked a lot this week about, we should be confident. Again, did we feel like we played a great game today? No, not by any means. But this team should be confident, right? And that doesn't mean cocky. It means confident that with all the things that we've been able to accomplish this year. And I just want them to know, like, even after those two losses in a row, like, you guys have a reason to be confident. And so, that's where we lie right now. Again, we won the division, and that's a great accomplishment that we wanted to be able to do. Us, we want to do one game at a time, but we got a lot of bigger things in our minds right now.
The offense that Jalen didn't pull the ball. Jalen didn't pull it, didn't run any zone.
I thought what happened where I thought the offense wasn't good today was in the red zone, right? We were able to move the ball. We were able to get some short fields because of our special teams, with some of the onside kicks and the fake field goal that they did. So my concern would have been with the red zone plan and execution. I'll always put those together. And so Jalen's proved all year that he doesn't have to just be he's not just a zone read quarterback, or he's not just this guy's up for MVP. Why? Because he's done everything, right? And so and we've won a lot of different ways this year. And so, and just, him fighting through what he fought through to get back, because still, it's not like he was perfect out there in sense of as far as his, what he felt like, right? We didn't feel like there was more risk, but, I know he was hurting. He was hurting bad. And, but that's the kind of competitor that he is. That's the kind of the person that he is, and the kind of teammate and leader that he is. That he was able to go out there and stick and tough through it. I get you, Howard. I'm sorry, but my eyes haven't scanned back over this way, right? It's a little bit that I'm not looking at the fur coat.
Just to clarify, he was hurting today. He was
yeah, of course he's still sore, right? He's still sore, of course.
Nick, you talked often about how you want the season, you want it to be going like this. You've accomplished all of your regular season goals, but it hasn't exactly looked like that over the last 3 weeks. So how do you sort of reconcile that as you head into the postseason?
Yeah, you just go and you fix the things that you think you're making mistakes on. Again, winning pretty is not a priority. You obviously, I remember Larry Karras used to always say, like, hey, I want to make sure that my friends, if we've ever played in Cincinnati or played in another city, like, I want to make sure my friends in Cincinnati know we're headed in the right direction, or whatever it was. And so that's the same thing. You want to be headed in the right direction. You want, and all those different things, but playing Wilmington's a little different than playing who we just played, the Giants. Like, you're going to win some ugly, right? And you're going to lose some. And of course, we know that the last 2 weeks we thought just wasn't up to our standard. And even today, there's parts of today that's not up to our standard. But we wanted to set our identity of who we are and just keep plugging away at it. But winning pretty. Winning in this league is hard to do, and we won't apologize for that. And it feels good to be able to get the division and our 14th win.
I'll
come back to you, Ed.
All right. You are, for the first time in your head coaching career, a division winner. I understand it's a team sport, but isn't there a special feeling of pride and significance for you to be in the situation you're in right now?
Sure. I mean, I get to give him one of those hats. You like that hat? Yes. Yeah. You get to give him one of those hats. Get to give my dad a hat. You get to give my other kids, my wife, one of those hats. That's cool, right?
Miles not going to get a hat?
Miles doesn't get one? Why can't Miles have one?
You said Miles can't get one.
I said they all get one.
Oh.
All right. You shush. All right, let me talk. All right. But, obviously that's something that's cool, right? But we just know how much bigger our goals are. And I'm not going to even get into the next goal is the Super Bowl. It's not. It's the next goal is the next day. And you don't just switch your focus of what's important to you once you get into the playoffs, right? You know that every game is a win or go home game, and you put everything you can into that day. Again, like I said, that's just what the best teams and the best coaches and the best players that I've been around have that mindset, that you're going to take it one day at a time. So our goals are bigger than this division. It's good to get the division because that's your first step of being able to get to your total goals. But we'll take this one day at a time. We'll work hard this week, as a team to fix some of the things that are wrong. That's a big advantage to be able to have a week where everybody else is playing for their playoff life, and we got a week to work on what we need to work on. We got a week to self-scout ourselves. We got a week to see what has been working for us. We got a week to see what hasn't been working for us. That's a big deal. And so we'll take that week, and we'll be in that moment for this week. We'll enjoy this one tonight. We get pizza tonight? What do you want? Burger or pizza? Five Guys? All right, you get a milkshake tonight. That's all that matters. All right, and we'll get better from this.
Speaking of this week, you've got 4 teams. You'll end up, I think, having 4 teams that you could potentially face. Prep-wise, you only have so much bandwidth.
Sure.
How do you handle that? Do you just focus on self-scouting for this week?
Yeah, that will be a big part of it. That will be a big part of it. You look at some of your old plans and stuff like that, but yeah, you can't. You just don't know what's going to happen, right? You have no idea. I mean, and so you spend a lot of time with self-scout this week. You try to get a little bit of a head. We have good staff, and we have guys that we can devote. Hey, you can take this team, you can take this team, you can take this team. So you can get some of the tough, hard work, little minutia things out of the way, and have different guys work on different parts. And so I'm thankful because I have a staff that we have guys that are going to be able to do that, and we trust to do that.
Can you walk us through the conversation when Jalen waved off the punt team and you sent it back out?
You know what? That was just a little bit of miscommunication between myself and Coach Clay, and that's just on me because I was thinking if we didn't get any more yards right there, we were going to kick it. I didn't even know Jalen did that, to be quite honest with you. And so, we just, I'll figure out what happened there. You're the first one who told me that happened. I thought that I just miscommunicated it, but now I can blame it on Jalen.
Couple more? That would be a situation, maybe under different circumstances earlier this season, where we would expect you to go for it.
Well, yeah, analytics and going for it on 3rd down or 4th down or whatever it is, or you know what I mean? All those different things, there's a feel to it. It's not like, hey, I know what the chart says. I'm listening to what the chart says, but there's a thing where you have to go on feel and how the game's going. I thought our defense was playing really good at that time, and so you just don't blindly, right? There's a feel to it, right? There's a feel to it. In that particular case, I thought that was the right decision to kick it away there and not give them a short field. Because I thought our defense was doing a really nice job of stopping them at that point, and that's why I did what I did.
Last one, folks.
I'll get you.
Jalen earlier.
We just wanted to. We can get some more questions right here. All right.
And
Back that truck up over my back.
the red zone stuff you were talking about, Nick, and the fact that was the bigger problem. Is it, Jalen pulling it, doesn't that help a lot in those close areas? And how important is the extra week for him? You said just because you said he was sore.
Obviously it's big, yeah. It's big for everybody. It's not just big for Jalen. And of course we've been successful. I think I don't know if we're still the number 1 team in the red zone, but I know we were going into this game. And so we've done a nice job. It was uncharacteristic of us. And everything kind of goes into play. The way we all play in the red zone, and coach in the red zone has a lot of different factors into it. But yeah, it's big that he's going to be able to get another week rest. But it was also big, in my opinion. There were some things where we were all just a little rusty, with Jalen being back in, and so that was important for us to be able to get some of that out of us, and fight through some of that because just with a couple weeks off, he's got to get back into that mode of playing, and so I'm glad he went out there today and was successful and did a lot of good things, and we did some things that we're gonna want back and we're gonna correct.
How much did these last 2 weeks influence you on how you're gonna prepare, especially during the bye week, because with that bye week, you still may have a little bit of rust, but how much do these last 3 weeks prepare you for this sort of second round game?
I think I think I saw what Patrick Mahomes said yesterday. We already won a playoff game, right? That's huge. You already won a playoff game. I mean, that's a great perspective to have on it. And every week you're hoping every week is a learning opportunity, and that's what these last 3 weeks have been. And the week before that, you're anticipating to grow from that. and correct mistakes that you don't make. You know, you make a mistake because you're not going to play perfect in a game. You make mistakes in a game, and you're hoping that's a, you know, I tell the guys at the beginning of the year, like I know you kind of see me as a yeller and screamer, but let me tell you, when I'm really yelling and screaming is when we have repeat mistakes. That's where I kind of, you know, really, you know, because that's what you want to eliminate, because it's already hard enough to win in this league. And so you want to learn from your mistakes. You want to learn from your things that you've done well and grow from that. And I do believe that. I do believe we've been continuing to grow. Has everything been pretty? No. And was today pretty? No. But you know, we're growing. And we know we're growing because we are fixing mistakes. Now there might be new mistakes that come up, but that's a new mistake, and we'll fix that one and get better from that one. And so I think somebody said last year, like, it's like you're underground, you're like watering these plants and these flowers and different stuff like that, and you're trying to get better from it. And so that's what we're doing.
I think we should end it on that. I've got Jalen in the hallway.
All right, head coach Nick Sirianni, an NFC East champ for the first time and the #1 seed. Now we have to talk about A.J. Brown breaking Mike Quick's record. He had 8 yards to go to tie it, 9 yards to break it. Opening play, he caught a 35-yard pass, and he now owns the record for most receiving yards in a single season.
Yeah, and it's just another benchmark that he's reached.
Oh, there they are, post-game.
For his great season that he's having. So, you know, hell, let's hope this is the first of many great seasons from A.J. Brown, because he's standing right there next to one of the Eagles' best wide receivers ever.
All right, we're going to hear from the guy who helped him break that record. Jalen Hurts is at the podium.
Congratulations.
Personally, how did it feel out there?
Good.
Back, how did it feel turning out, getting plays under you, know, being back in the plane and having taken hits and that kind of thing? How did it feel for you?
Good enough.
Something that you wanted to try and see and you know you were back, or?
Good enough.
John, can you walk us through what these last 2 weeks have been like for you, not being able to play?
It's been you know, tough, but you know, I don't really want to make it about me. You know, we just accomplished a great goal of ours. It's something that we set out to do for us. This year we set out to do that, and that's something that we did. And you know, my whole thing moving forward is you know, let's prepare to play our best ball. You know, it's been a great ride this year, but you know, the job isn't finished. So let's keep on going.
Did you have any concerns coming back today? Like any fears? Or?
You know, I had some things I had to battle within myself. I knew I wanted to be available for my team. You know, it's really tough being out, let alone, you know, taking some losses when you're out. So I want to be available for my team. You know, I really feel like if you want something, you got to do what you got to do to go get it. And today we did just enough to get that goal. And now it's 0-0, and we have a new goal in front of us. But it's a day-by-day process, like it's always been, and we'll just continue to get better. You know, I feel like coming into this game, you know, been really pushing myself beyond measures to try and be available, and you know, rather the risk reward of playing in today, whatever that was, we did what we had to do. We're the #1 seed, and we're NFC East champs, and that's the goal we set out to do. And now I can continue to recover and be ready for the playoffs.
Was that part of that reward, you thinking that you had to play in order to be ready for the playoffs?
I won't say. I think everything happens the way it's supposed to. You know, I think I was pushing myself to be available, you know, and it wasn't an easy thing. It wasn't easy. It's still not easy. But we're here. We're thankful, and we're looking forward to what's to come.
Would you say you're not really close to 100%, but you think maybe with a couple more weeks
Enough.
you can get close?
Good enough to win today.
John, what went involved in terms of like protecting you? It seemed like you never pulled zone read plays. It seemed like that was involved.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's just not how the game went today. It's not how it went today. That's not where we're going. We kind of got Miles and Boston going a little bit. I felt like we could have been more efficient. Credit to them. You know, they really good defense, and they definitely made some adjustments from the last time we played them. So, yeah.
What were your primary thoughts and feelings walking off the field, having pushed yourself to come back and accomplishing this team goal?
Walking off the field today?
Yeah.
It comes through Philly. You know, job's not done. So, those are my thoughts.
What would you say are the things you need to work on detail-wise as a team in the red zone to score touchdowns?
I mean, I think that's a really good red zone defense we just played. That coach does a great job, and I think no doubt in my mind that we'll learn from that if we saw him again or whoever we see. But nonetheless, we just have to execute our details and our play, be on the same page, and keep it going, keep growing like always.
What's it mean to you personally? First NFC East title as a starter, #1 seed, first time as a starter. Does that have any, personal pride in that?
Yeah, I think it's a huge accomplishment. Maybe I'm not realizing the magnitude of it just yet. I just know that we have so much more out there for us. So I'm eager to get back to work and continue to grow with these guys. I challenge everybody in that locker room to not only hold themselves accountable, but hold the man next to them accountable. Coaches, trainers, our janitors, Tony, everybody. It takes everybody. It takes a village, truly. So that's where my focus is. My focus is just getting better every day. My focus is learning like I've always learned, and as a team learning like we've always learned, and continue to grow. I truly feel like there's a lot out there for us. We just got to go and take it.
Jalen, there was a sequence early in the second quarter where you guys had 4th and 2, and it looked like you were waving the punt team off as if you wanted to go for it. Did you talk to Nick at all in that sequence? Did he overrule you on the punt team? How did that all play out?
Yeah, he made the decision. He made the decision to do that, and whether I agree or disagree, we won.
Speaking of decisions, who ultimately made the decision for you to play this week, and when did you find out, and how was your voice factored into that decision?
Yeah, I don't really want to get into it. I played.
At what point?
This is the first time.
At what point today did you feel like you were back? You're wearing the shirt that says I'm back. Was there a moment in the game when you felt like yourself out there?
I mean, I put the uniform on. Still undefeated in black, so keep it going.
What about the idea about, obviously you weren't running as much, you weren't taking as many hits. I mean, when was that kind of decided as far as what you could do and couldn't do during the course of the game?
Just playing the game and protecting myself. I think if that's what y'all want to hear, protecting myself.
Well, it seemed like there was more game plan oriented, that you were going to avoid those hits by what was called and what was run. Is that not the case?
Yeah, they're protecting me too. That's what you want to hear?
I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm protecting myself.
Nick said today you were playing through pain. I think when we spoke to you after the Chicago game, you said it took a lot of courage to get through that game. What did it feel like for you out there?
Good enough.
Let's take a few more. I believe this is the first time you've ever missed 2 games in a row. How difficult was it, not only the physical part of it, but maybe not being there as the leader, especially the first week you were out, because I think you were getting treatment and stuff like that. And I think AJ said maybe he talked with you about that other part of leadership for this team in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I take pride in being the quarterback for this team and being the leader of this team, and I know that is earned. It's all earned, and when I talk, they really feel me. They really feel me, and I try and speak in a way and go by my day-by-day actions so they can hear me and they have a right to. And I just simply challenge everybody. I challenge everybody to do what they need to do to bring their best. And that comes from accountability. That comes from self-awareness. And that comes from knowing the things that you need to grow on. And as you go into the second part, this kind of finale of the season, this playoff run, it takes everyone. it takes everyone, and it's all 0-0 now. So, I know we've worked really hard to be where we are now. We've overcome a lot. We've overcome a lot. We've been through a lot as a team and as individuals, and now we have opportunity to do everything that we set out to do, and it starts with all of us. So I have a true desire and eagerness to continue to grow. The process doesn't change. I embrace the journey of everything. I embrace the challenges that life throws at me and his team. We embrace it all. We take it on headstrong. So I'm looking forward to it. I know what this team is built upon. I know the foundation that this team is built upon, and I'm excited to get to work with them. But again, it's a challenge. It's a focus. And it doesn't take anything other than us being who we are. So we'll take a day-by-day approach with all of this. We'll continue to learn and grow, and I can't say that I'll smile until the job is finished.
You often say that you'll take every experience and try to learn from it. What have you learned from the experience of the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, man. Just to be thankful and be grateful for the opportunities that we have. Obviously, Monday night we witnessed something that was horrific. And God bless him for being able to cover the way he has so far. But I think there's a ton that we have to truly be grateful for. And you can say, well, you don't seem too happy right now. You're talking about being grateful. Where when you work so hard for something and you accomplish something as a team, as an individual, whatever that is, you kind of put the work in for a reason, to where you expect to succeed because of the work, because you know what you put into it, and there's a different type of passion that goes into that. And then when you don't accomplish it, that it just turns you up even more to go get it. So I say all that to say that the job is not done. The job is not done, and we want to continue to grow as a team. We're gonna learn from all of this. We'll enjoy it, but the job isn't done.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Joe.
QB1 taking the lead after 2 weeks off. He went through for 229 yards and a touchdown. He said he was protecting himself, as we kind of expected. But before we went to Jalen Hurts, we were talking a little bit about A.J. Brown's record-breaking day. Well, kind of cool, Mike Quick, the record that A.J. Brown broke, he was on the call. He broke it down for us right here.
A.J. Brown all the way down to the Giants' 30. How's that?
Maryland, just as he told me before the game, he said the first pass is going to come to me, and I'm going to break your record.
He needed 8, and he got a lot more than that. Your record was 1,409 yards in 1983, but, and this is a big but, he did it in one more game.
Yeah, that's
so
okay. So
you still have the 16-game record as far as I'm concerned. You're a good sport.
Guys, how cool and how special is that right there?
No, it's awesome, and what makes it awesome is Mike is one of the great Eagles, right? And to know Mike Quick is to know how great of a person he is, and he's been a mentor of mine, big brother of mine since I got here in 1998. So to see how happy he is, genuinely for A.J. Brown to break his record, it just speaks about the character of Mike Quick and how he wants to see guys achieve and do well. And he understands that those records are made to be broken. And it's pretty cool that he is still a huge part of this organization, and to be here while AJ is doing this. And for AJ to pay homage to him is even cooler.
The three of us, John Clark, the rest of our studio staff, we're here in this studio every single week on Wednesday mornings filming Eagles game plan. And over the last month or so, when it looked like A.J. Brown was in striking distance of that record, it felt like every week John would ask Mike off camera, oh, he's getting close, and Mike would genuinely say, I hope he gets it. And you could tell that's not like for the cameras, that's not public. Mike really wanted AJ to break that record.
So cool. Really special. I mean, the guy whose record you broke is on the call, seeing it in person and talking about it.
And I love the fact, AJ, because a lot of these young guys, you just don't know whether or not they can appreciate the guys that came before them. So seeing that AJ wore Mike Quick jersey to the game, he certainly knew he was breaking the record today. But that was pretty cool, too. And seeing him get a chance to talk to Mike after the game, I think that's pretty cool, man.
And how about both receivers getting to break a chance to break records today? You got A.J. Brown with the receiving yardage record in single season, and Devontae Smith, the most receptions by a receiver in one season, breaking Irving Fryer's record by a receiver here with this Eagles team.
There's a record for most drip. I think Devontae Smith would also win that. Look how he showed up today.
Let me tell you what he should just have, like, as an outline.
He's got the state of Louisiana on the side of that hat.
He should be outlined in fire, because that's just what this is. This is a fire outfit, and, man,
this is
look at
throughout the season.
All
Whoever
year long.
dresses him, they're lucky they have a bye week, because they're going to need to put a lot of work in to get him ready for playoffs, because he's not messing around when he walks in here for the playoffs.
He is best dressed. Like, there's
by far.
He's best dressed, yeah. And here's the thing that I like. See, you see Quez's suit?
Yeah.
That's inspired by Devontae. So Devontae is inspiring his teammates as well. They got to pick up their drip game, man, because this dude comes in. You know what he reminds me of? The guy on our team that was like that was Troy Vincent. Like Troy Vincent, Bobby Taylor will tell you he was the cleanest. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and be honest. Yeah, Troy, Bobby was the best dressed. Troy doesn't like to give that up to Bobby, but Bobby Taylor was by far the best dressed guy on our team.
For some reason, I thought you were going to like Eagles game plan crew and saying who best dressed was. That's what I was going to say. Man, I'm going to have to exit this conversation.
Well, I learned from those guys.
Right.
I learned from those guys, seriously.
No offense, Fran, but I think Ike's best dressed on the show.
Oh, it's not me. We know that for sure.
It's you, Ellen.
Well, you have to say that out of like kindness, so the people still like you, but you win, Ike, week in and week out. Look at today. It's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even wasted this suit on this game today. This is and your actual playoff suit.
And you were able to match the box for the
That's thanks to Ella. She knew what I was going to wear today.
Yeah. We're in each other's heads now. That's how we roll around here. Well, we're going to keep going with the record-breaking storyline here earlier today. Fran broke down A.J. Brown's record-breaking catch for his Ricoh review.
All right, so for this week's Ricoh review, I want to look back to the record-breaking reception from A.J. Brown. He only needed 9 yards to eclipse Mike Quick for the all-time single-season receiving record for the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, here on the first play of the game, he got 35. So he got everything that he needed and more here on this play. And the Eagles designed this with A.J. Brown in mind, because what you're going to see is A.J. Brown at the top of the screen. He's going to be running a slant route against a one-on-one corner. Now, the Eagles know that the Giants like to play a lot of single high defense, but you don't know, is it going to be man or zone coverage? So you're going to see at the snap of the football, they're going to send Devontae Smith in motion from left to right. If anybody runs with Devontae Smith, especially over here on this side, if that corner runs with him and follows him to the opposite side, well, you know it's man coverage. So you're going to see exactly how the routes deploy themselves, and then Jalen Hurts can get it to whoever he thinks is winning their matchup. But if it is zone coverage, some form of cover 3, well, then this corner is going to fall back because he's got the threat of Devontae Smith here in the flat. The corner's going to fall back, and A.J. Brown should have plenty of room to work here on the in-breaking route. He needs to get here for the first down, and he's going to get that and more. We're going to let this roll. You can see Jalen Hurts brings Devontae Smith in motion. It's zone coverage. A.J. Brown's going to have an inside release. He's able to beat the corner, run away from the safety, and he goes 35 yards, gets the Eagles into scoring range on the opening play of the game. A.J. Brown breaks the record. Congratulations to A.J., to Mike Quick as well for holding it for as long as he did. I know Mike Quick very, very happy for A.J. Brown, and that is this week's Ricoh Review.
Now is your chance to vote for the Toyota Player of the Week. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. All right, last time for the regular season, guys. Let's see who we got. To no surprise, we're going to start things off with A.J. Brown. 4 receptions for 95 yards. What a day for the wide receiver. Next up, Jake Elliott. Why not? 5 field goals. First time ever in his career. And lastly, Kaiser White led the team in 12 total tackles today. What do we think?
I'm tempted to go defense, but I can't go defense because my first love is special teams. I got to go with Jake Elliott. 5 for 5, I got to go with Jake
You've
Elliott.
been throwing curveballs all season, Ike.
Well, the Eagles lose by 6 points. I mean, Jake Elliott with those 5 field goals comes through in the clutch. I really thought you were going to go A.J. Brown. And so I was going to say, I'm going to take Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to go Jake Elliott. Jake Elliott gets the game ball for me.
All right, I like it. I like it. Well, the Eagles don't know who they are playing yet. It's going to be a weekend next weekend for Eagles fans to sit back, relax, and enjoy. But I know there's been some action on Twitter from this Eagles team. I know they're very excited inside the locker room. They're Kaiser White himself saying NFC East champs. First year back home. God, you the greatest. Job not finished. Referencing Kobe there, too. Let's see what else. Darius Slay, NFC champs, baby. I think he means NFC East champs. Now, for Darius Slay, in 10 years, he's never made it to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or won a division.
Yeah.
It's a big day for him.
Hasn't won a playoff game, as you just mentioned, not making it to the second round. So, yeah, Slay spending all those years in Detroit. One playoff win for Detroit in 80 years. So, yeah, he's happy.
They all are. Avonte Maddox, Sean Bradley, NFC East champs.
Let's go.
It's a big day in Philly.
Can I say that the win also keeps alive one of the most amazing stats in all of sports?
It truly is unbelievable.
2004 was the last time there has been repeat NFC East champions. Just insane, the parity in this division. You were, what, you're 6?
Yeah, well, and here's the other thing. We only have so many of these records that'll keep me relevant that I can say I was actually a part of something. So, yeah.
Are you guys popping champagne?
Yeah, yeah, that nobody's been able to be back-to-back NFC East champs. Well, how about that, man?
That is
Almost
insane.
20 years.
Wild.
That's unbelievable.
No one's gone back-to-back.
Yeah.
I know.
And here's another stat that I hope remains true. Well, I'll keep that to myself because they have not named the MVP yet of the league.
That's true.
So I'll keep that
Let's
to
not
myself.
go there. Let's not go there. All right, well, on that note, we're going to wrap things up here, Eagles fans. Enjoy the playoffs next weekend as you sit back and you have some time to breathe. But we will have you covered here all on our Eagles Entertainment platforms to get you set for that second round of the playoffs. It's coming through Philly. Thank you so much for watching, and go Birds.